Cool.
Meanwhile, President Trump says that Facebook's Libra virtual currency, it's going to have little standing or dependability. He also bashed Bitcoin for being highly volatile and that it can facilitate unlawful behavior. So I want to bring back Steve Moore, who just made headlines 2 or 3 weeks ago for his potential involvement in the cryptocurrency world. Steve, you know what? The president, both sides of the aisle yesterday, around the world, governments circling the wagons around fiat currency and a pushback against the kind of things that you are now talking about. What does the president, what is he getting wrong on this?
Well, look, I think he's partly right and partly wrong. I mean, I agree with him that, you know, if you look at Bitcoin, I mean, what do you want a currency to do? I mean, one of the main objectives of a currency is to hold value over time. And if you look at Bitcoin, as you know, Charles, over the last 5 or 6 or 7 years, I mean, it's a roller coaster ride. I mean, it just goes up and down. It's more of a speculation than it is a currency. And
although, Steve, I'll jump in and say since President Trump was inaugurated, it's up 1,100%.
That's true.
That's a pretty good roller coaster ride.
It is true. A lot of people have made a lot of money on Bitcoin. And I'm saying, look, it might be a good investment. I'm just saying as a currency, you know, I'm not so sure that's what you want in a currency that because there have been, as you said, there have been huge rises, especially since Trump election. But remember, it also fell by, what, 70% at one point. And so it's been a roller coaster ride. Now, some of these other, cryptocurrencies, and by the way, it's the Wild West out there. There are, you know, literally dozens of new companies that are developing. And, you know, I think that the main function here, and the reason that I think government officials are worried about this, central bankers especially, is they don't want the competition.
Sure.
They don't want private competition to government monopoly on currency. It's the very reason that I'm so excited about it.
So you're decentral, this so-called stable coin.
Yep.
What differentiates that from all the other players?
Well, one of them is that it's going to be pegged to the dollar, and the dollar actually has been pretty stable over the last, not just the last 5 years, the last 30 years. And so some of these other currencies are pegged to, you know, market basket of currencies and other kinds of things. We like having it tailored to the dollar, and I think it'll be a very stable currency. It'll be much easier to use, and it will also be something that, you know, governments don't have control of. Incidentally, this line that you can, you know, and this wasn't just President Trump. I mean, this is what all the central bankers are saying. Well, you just can't trust these, you know, private currencies.
Right.
Well, can you trust, you know, government currencies? I mean, I'm old enough to remember in the 70s when we had, you know, 15% inflation in the dollar. And so this is a kind of hedge. And I think that kind of competition actually will force central bankers to provide stable prices. So it's kind of a hedge against runaway inflation or deflation.
Now, having said that, Facebook obviously also happens to...
They're the big guy.
Right, they're the big guy. You know, they've got their own country, right, with all those eyeballs. It's
Exactly.
a couple billion people. You know, are you worried if they were able to get their currency off the ground, that it would somehow be able to usurp the global economic system? I mean, really? I mean,
I'm not. I'm only laughing because, I mean, that is the line, you know, that somehow I read a USA Today editorial the other day and saying, oh, my gosh, it's going to be, you know, Facebook is going to run everything in the world. No, look, you know, just because they have something like $3 billion of investment in that doesn't mean they're going to get it right. I mean, Charles, you know this. It's always hard in a new industry to pick who the winner's going to be, and to always just pick the one that has the most money.
Sure.
That isn't a bet that always pays off. That's why I like decentral. We're 1/20th of the size of the Libra, but we think we got a better product. And in the end, tell me if you think I'm wrong on this, Charles. I think it's the company that has the better product is ultimately the winner.
Hey, there was over 100 automobile companies in 1900, and we eventually got 3. Hey, real quick, less than 30 seconds, Steve.
Yeah.
Do you anticipate having a conversation with President Trump about the variations of cryptocurrency and the potential for them, a positive potential for them at somewhere in the future?
You know, who knows? If he calls me, I certainly will. But I, you know, agree with entirely what you just said earlier about if Trump can get the USMCA done, I think that is such a plus for the economy. And if Pelosi can pull that off, I'll take back all the negative things I've said about her.
Oh, man, so much love in the air. Hey, Steve, always appreciate it. Thank you very much.